We need to discuss the Stanley Cup playoffs. At the top of the description, I'm going to have a link to this bracket challenge league if you guys want to join. I'd love to see it. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so let's start off in the Western Conference here. First matchup, we got the Colorado Avalanche and the Seattle Kraken. I really like watching both teams, and we know the Avs, they're the reigning Stanley Cup champion as of right now, so I think it's going to be really hard to knock the Avs off. You got Kim McCarr coming back, it sounds like, but you don't have Gabriel Landeskog. I don't think Colorado has as good of a team as they did last year, but I will say their goaltending took a step up. I like Darcy Kemper. He was an above average goalie, but now you got Alexander Georgiev, and he's been playing really well this whole season. I think that's where you have the advantage over the Seattle Kraken, because the Seattle Kraken's goalies, they haven't been super good stats-wise, but they do get wins, so we'll have to see what happens. The Seattle team is really good too, especially for only being their second year in the league. They've got really good players. You got Burakovsky, who I don't think he'll play, but he was a huge impact on this team this year. You probably got the Calder Trophy winner in Matty Beniers. You got Vince Dunn having a good season. Cannot talk about Jeremy McCann and Yanni Gord and just Jordan Eberle. A lot of great players on the Seattle team, but I don't think you're bouncing the reigning Stanley Cup champions, so I'm taking Colorado. Moving on, we got Dallas versus Minnesota, and I think this series is going to be really good. And both of the goalies in this are really good as well. You do have Jake Ottinger. We saw last year in the first round when they were playing Calgary. He was a brick wall, and I wouldn't doubt the same thing happens here. But on the other side, you got Marc-Andre Fleury, who's been playing not bad. He's been really good the past couple weeks now. But you also have Eric Gustafsson. His save percentage this year was through the roof. He was one of the top 5 goalies in save percentage, and I think goals allowed. So I don't know who's going to get the start there, but I really like this Minnesota team. It's hard for me to say Dallas is going to get knocked out. I really love Dallas. You got Rope Hintz, Jason Robertson, Joe Pavelski, Jimmy Benn's playing really good. Tyler Sagan's playing good too. Miro Heiskanen. This team is really good, but I don't think they're going to beat the Minnesota Wild. They have stepped up their game towards the end of the season. Like I said, their goalie's been pretty good, but you got Kirill Kaprizov. You got Matt Boldy on that team too. The depth on the Minnesota Wild has been put together really nice, and I think they can continue on through the playoffs, so I'm taking Minnesota. Alright, moving on, we got Vegas-Winnipeg, and this is also another good series that I can't wait to watch. You got Connor Hellebuyck in net, and he's really good in the playoffs, as we know. I'm not too sure about Vegas' goaltending. I don't know how Jonathan Quick will do. I don't think Logan Thompson's back. I think he re-injured. I could be wrong on that. But Vegas' offense is just much more powerful than the Jets. You got Jack Eichel on that team, William Karlsson, Jonathan Marchessault. There's a lot of good Vegas players. Also, their defense, Shea Theodore, Alex Pietrangelo, Alec Martinez. Alec Martinez has scored a Stanley Cup winning goal. So they've got a lot of great pieces. You got Phil Kessel on that team too. He's been to the playoffs. He's won a cup before. Not very much experience on this Winnipeg team. And Winnipeg, they were playing really good at the beginning of the season, and then they fell off towards the end, barely scraping into the wild card spot. Luckily, Calgary didn't want it at all this year. But Winnipeg, I just don't think they're playing good enough hockey. I'm taking Vegas. And moving on to my favorite series of this first round in the Western Conference, we got Edmonton-LA, rematch of last year. This went the full 9 yards. I think this is also going 7 games, but I don't think you're going to beat Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl this year. Their goaltending has been decent towards the deadline too. You got Jonas Korpisalo coming over. He's been playing pretty good. And Phoenix Copley coming over. So they've got good goaltending, but I don't think you're beating Edmonton. I think this will be a fantastic series, and I think it'll get drawn out. But I'm taking Edmonton in 7. Like I said, I really like this Colorado-Seattle lineup too. I think Colorado does this in 6 games, and I think Seattle's going to put up a fight, but I don't think they're going to get mollywopped and get swept in 5 games. So I think the Avs will push it to 6. And then Vegas, Winnipeg. I'm going 7 games on this. I think this will be really good, but I think Vegas will take it away. Obviously, in Minnesota's Dallas, I'm taking Minnesota in 6 games. Another fantastic series that could go to 7. All right, moving over to the Eastern Conference, and I cannot wait to watch every single one of these series. And first off, we got to go to Boston, Florida. Boston, the greatest team in NHL history. They have the most wins, the most points. They only lost a handful of times this year. And looking at Florida, they didn't have a good start. They brought it back towards the end of the season, Alex Lyon put them on their back. He played absolutely phenomenal. But I don't think this Boston team is losing in the first round. We could see Florida putting up a great fight, but I'm taking Boston in 7. Moving on to my favorite series to watch this year. It's a rematch of last year, Toronto-Tampa Bay. We all know the implications for Toronto this season. It's major. It's a major deal. So this first round matchup, you couldn't have gotten a harder test. You brought in guys like Ryan O'Reilly, Noel Acciari, Jake McCabe. I think this is their best team they've put out in a long time. And they have some depth pieces too. That fourth line is completely different than anything we've seen. And it's an actual grinding fourth line that'll win puck races, win battles, they'll even score. So I think they're going to need it. But on the other hand, you got Andrei Vasilevskiy. Vasilevskiy has been the best goalie for the past couple seasons now. And we all know what he can do when he has a chance to win a playoff series. He just locks it down. But honestly, Tampa just was not playing as good towards the end of the season. They didn't make as many crazy deadline acquisitions. They lost a lot of people. They lost some key pieces in the summer. They lost Andre Palat and Ryan McDonough. So I don't think this Tampa team is better than what they have been putting out in the past couple years. For that reason, I'm taking Toronto in 6. I don't think it'll take 7 games, because if it goes to 7 games, Tampa's winning it. I'm sorry. So I'm going Toronto in 6. Alright, moving on. We got the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Islanders, and this could be a really good series. I think this would be a very underrated series. There won't be as many crazy offensive plays, I don't believe, in this series. It's going to come down to just defensive structure and how well the goalies can play. We all know Ilya Sorokin has been absolutely lights out this year. Let's see how he can do in a playoff series. Can he be a Vasilevskiy where he gives them a chance every night? This Carolina team, it's just not the same as it was at the beginning of the season. What's funny is I've made some bets with my friends at the beginning of the season, and one of my friends is a Canes fan. And I agreed, I think the Canes could win the Cup this year. But after what they lost Max Pacioretty, they lost Andrei Svechnikov. Those are 2 big guys that you're losing, plus they're your goal scorers, right? I mean, you still have Aho and Marty Necas, so they still got some really good pieces to try and keep this up. They're not as scary as they were towards the middle of the season. With that being said, I do think Carolina takes this. And now we got the Hudson River rivalry. We got New Jersey versus New York. Man, this is going to be a great series to watch too. You got Jack Hughes, Dougie Hamilton, Nico Hischier, Timo Meier. There's so many great pieces on this New Jersey team. You also got a really good goalie in Vitek Vanacek. He really hasn't played too many intense playoff games. He didn't have a good time last year against Florida when he was playing for Washington. So we'll have to see what he does, but it looks like he's bounced back, just like his teammate Ilya Samsonov, his goalie tandem from last year. They've both really stepped up and become their number 1 goalies. But now on the other side, we have this New York Rangers team, and this New York team, they went to the Eastern Conference Final last year. They have Igor Shesterkin, Mika Zibanejad, Artemi Panarin, Patrick Kane, Chris Kreider. You got that whole kid line too. This Ranger team is scary. You even got Adam Fox. I didn't even mention Adam Fox. This is going to be one of the best series to watch, and I will have my eye on this. With that being said, though, I'm taking New Jersey, and I don't know why. I just have that feeling. I really like New York. It really hurts to not have New York move on with Patrick Kane, because I am a Blackhawks fan, and I know how good he is in the playoffs. I'm taking New Jersey solely because Igor Shesterkin was not the same goalie he was last year, and I think New Jersey's defense is just a slight notch better. We all know that each team can roll out 4 lines. Each team has superstar and goal scoring capability. So I think it comes down to defense. We'll have to see if Vitek is just a really good performer. We'll have to see if Igor Shesterkin can just lock it down too. But I'm going to get some hate for that, but I'm taking New Jersey in 7. I'm taking Toronto in 6. Boston, Florida. I want this to go 7 games, just because Florida is also one of my favorite teams. I don't see them winning it, like I previously, already pointed out. But I really want to see this go long. And then Carolina, New York. I think this is going 6 games. Just because defensively it could go either way. All right, moving over to the second round, we got Colorado, Minnesota. Another bet I made with my friend right before these last couple of games of the season came in. But I bet them that Colorado is not going to the Stanley Cup Final again. I'm taking Minnesota here. I think Minnesota is a dark horse team. They got goaltending, star power, and depth. If anyone's going to beat Colorado out of the Central Division, I think it's Minnesota, and I think they do it in the second round. With no Gabe Landeskog and Nazem Kadri, you don't. Those are two huge pieces that brought them so far last year. I think it's just going to take a huge hit on the Colorado Avalanche, so I don't see them moving past. Now we got to go to Vegas Edmonton. This would be a fantastic second round. You got Connor McDavid went first overall, Jack Eichel went second overall. The storylines in that game would be awesome, but I got to take Edmonton. Even though Vegas was a really good team this year, Edmonton has just been playing lights out the past month, I want to say. They really found a good goalie in Stuart Skinner. He's been amazing. The Edmonton Oilers could have gone so far every single year they've been in the playoffs, but it's been their goaltending. You rolled out Mike Smith last year, and you had Mikko Koskinen. But with Stuart Skinner in net, I think he gives them a really good chance. He's just a solid goalie. He's really calm in net. So I think he can outduel any of the Vegas goaltenders that would play. Moving on, we got Boston, Toronto. I think I'm going Boston. And that's just because they have been such a great team this year. I am one of those people that would say if Toronto does win a round, they could ride that momentum and go as far as they want. But it's just Boston has been a crazy team this year. I think they could lock it down for a series against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that would be a great series. I think that would be a war. It really would. So I could see either one of these teams going out, but I give the edge to Boston. Now we gotta move on to Carolina, New Jersey. I'm going to go New Jersey, and this is crazy just because they have never made the playoffs in how many seasons now, and this is their first time. But you got difference makers on the team. You got Andre Palat who joined. Jack Hughes was just a clutch dude when he was playing for the National Development Program. It's just this New Jersey team. They have played at such a high level this whole season, so I'm taking New Jersey over Carolina. Minnesota, Edmonton. Wow, this would be a great Western Conference final. And what's crazy is Minnesota, I don't even think they've reached a Western Conference final. But they're not going to the Stanley Cup final. I'm taking Edmonton. And you can't beat Connor McDavid. You can't beat Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. No way. Alright, we're back. We got Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final now. And just to go back to what I was saying, I mean, you just can't beat Leon and Connor in the playoffs, especially how much they stepped up last year. They're going to do it again. They both had crazy seasons. Edmonton's going all the way to the final, baby. Alright, so I'm taking Boston in the East. I think this is one of the most predictable Stanley Cup finals in any of these leagues, on any of these brackets. But, I mean, these two teams have just been playing the best hockey, right? And the best teams who are playing towards the end of the season usually are the teams that go far. That's why I knew New York was going to the Eastern Conference Final last year. They were just that good. A lot of people didn't have them making out the first round against Pittsburgh. I had them going to the conference final. So, I'm just going off instinct here. And like I said, this is probably really predictable to what a lot of you guys have too for the Cup final. But I'm taking this. This is the Cup final I want to see. And in the end, I think the President's Trophy curse will continue. I'm taking Edmonton. And for every reason that I've laid out, just Leon, Connor, it's their year. They have a good goalie. They're just going to step up. They're going to clutch it. I really like Boston as a team too. And I'd hate to see them losing another conference or another final. But I just think it's Edmonton's year. All right, so total goals. I'm just throwing something. Oh, and maybe not that much. I'm going 32. I put no thought into that. So there you go. That is my bracket. If you guys want to join it, it'll be in the description. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what teams that you took that I didn't. And yeah, thank you guys.